In a small town in California, there was a 5-year-old boy with special problems. It seemed that nobody could help him. But where people failed, one dog succeeded. From the day he was born, everything came more slowly to Danny. Sitting up straight, walking, speaking. The doctors didn't know why. They only knew that, for some reason, his development was delayed.
A pediatrician believed that he had cerebral palsy because he still wasn't rolling over, he wasn't crawling.
Dixie Morgan had known about Danny's difficulties, but she adopted him anyway.
When I met Danny the first time, he smiled, and that was the thing that touched me the most about him.
Dixie, a teacher, and her husband Edward adored Danny. So did their other adopted children, Justin and Cecily.
He has some developmental problems, delay problems, and that kind of makes him special. Like me, I have a lisp. Him, he has special problems.
When he could put a sentence together, he really could not formulate a series of sentences and engage in a conversation.
He would say in fragment sentences, like you and I would say the sky is blue, he would say blue sky or something like that.
The Morgans were very patient with Danny. They gave him and their other children almost everything they wanted, except for one thing, a dog.
My husband and I are not really dog people. True confession.
I never was interested in having a dog at all.
Although the Morgans weren't going to find a dog for their children, a new dog just across the street was about to find them. Saki had been a stray German Shepherd puppy, rescued from the streets and selected for training by the National Disaster Search Dog Foundation.
The National Disaster Search Dog Foundation finds, trains, and deploys dog teams to go and search people who have been lost in either natural or man-made disasters such as the Oklahoma City bombing.
The Morgans' neighbor, Denny Fiddler, was providing Saki with a temporary home until her scheduled training program began. But Saki had ideas of her own.
After approximately 2 weeks, in the morning, I'd look around and Saki wasn't there.
The resourceful Saki had slipped through a small opening in the fence and ran directly across the street, as if on the trail of her destiny.
When Saki first appeared at our doorstep, my husband conveniently was out of town. How would a dog know this? I don't know.
At first we were all scared because we thought that Saki, was gonna try to hurt us. She looked kind of weird at first, but she's still pretty. And Danny went up to her and he hugged her, and it's just wow, man, he turned into this different person.
What mysterious instinct drew the rescued stray to the adopted boy? Whatever it was, it seemed to have an almost immediate effect on Danny.
Danny would take Saki's face in his hands, her head in his hands, and look her in the eyes, and talk to her. And she would listen, as if she had a reply.
Denny Fiddler immediately agreed to let Saki come over every day to play.
Saki went directly to Danny. Wherever Danny was, that's where Saki went. And when the kids weren't home, she stayed at my house. She had one intention only, to go to Danny.
Teachers at Danny's preschool saw how Saki made a difference in the boy's life.
The comfort factor that an animal like a dog can give to a child is an emotional uplift. It's a confidence builder. It's a buddy.
He was the baby, but he let Saki be the baby, and he became an older sibling. So there has been a level of maturity that came forth in Danny very quickly after Saki arrived. Saki had been with us for about a week. Danny was standing in the kitchen, and I still remember it because I was so excited. He said, in his stuttery little voice, he said, I am Saki's dad. I remember thinking, am. He said, am. He said, I am. Not me, dad, or me, Saki, dad, or Saki, me, dad. He said, I am Saki's dad.
Well, what's that?
It was the beginning of a lot of sentences and a lot of conversation.
He can say the sky is blue or I love you, mommy, or something like that, you know? He doesn't say it in fragment sentences anymore.
Danny's speech wasn't the only skill that suddenly improved. He had never been able to throw a ball straight, but now he could because he was throwing it for Saki to fetch.
In addition to Danny's improvement verbally and with motor skills, we had worked on potty training for months and months, and all of a sudden he started to get it. Now, I can't imagine how a dog and potty training are connected, except that when one has confidence, a lot of things come together.
Go, baby! Go, baby!
As teachers, we know that learning takes place most easily and most effectively when there's a high level of emotional involvement. And I believe that Danny was very involved with Saki, and I think that contributed to his development in motor skills and in speech.
The Morgans had to admit they might have been wrong about getting a dog after all.
When my husband came home, former dog hater that he was, I caught him watching Danny and the dog play and just grinning from ear to ear.
When I saw Danny and Saki playing, it was too much. He just melted my heart. You could tell how attached they were, and you couldn't get them apart.
But the Morgans knew that Danny and Saki would soon have to be parted. Saki, after all, belonged to a rescue organization with definite plans for her, unless those plans could somehow be changed.
My husband called Danny and said, would you please talk to the disaster search dog people and ask them if we can have the dog for Danny.
Denny made the call, but convincing the foundation was anything but easy.
I was told not to be so soft and to look at it more objectively, and she had a great career ahead of her, and we're talking about one child versus God knows how many, and I took all this into consideration, said, just meet with them. Just meet with them.
Foundation members finally agreed to meet with Danny and his family. Within minutes, they understood that Saki had already accomplished her life's mission. The search and rescue dog had found and saved a little boy.
Now that Danny has Saki in his life, his stages of development are much closer to a 5-year-old. He's emotionally and socially actively involved in every activity that he is attempting.
I see her as a conduit for Danny. Saki made it possible for Danny to realize his being.
You know how, like, a butterfly can't live without its wings? If you pull one wing off, it can't fly? That's how Danny and Saki are. They need each other.
When there are no simple answers to the mysteries of life, we look for explanations that are often beyond our imagination, beyond reason, and beyond chance. I'm Melissa Etheridge. Good night.